So we're outside Kirribilli House in Sydney. There's Marine Faruqi waiting. She's obviously going to come on and speak at this rally. It's by the Australian Youth, thanks mate, Australian Youth Climate Council or something. I can't remember the name of them now, but it's they're protesting against these new climate decision the government's made. That they're not sufficiently happy with the levels, and I don't know what the hell it is, but anyway, so you got a mixture of New South Wales Police and also a mixture of, I think is the whole road blocked off. I better not walk on it for a second. A mixture of New South Wales Police and Australian Federal Police, because the feds look after the house here where Albo lives. Haven't been here for a long time, since ScoMo was in there protesting for the freedom rallies. It's certainly a lot bigger and a lot noisier. So apparently there's going to be several of these young people dressed in pajamas, which is there, and they're going to be having a sleep. It's called a sleep-in for climate or something like that. I should get more prepared before I yapper on, but I'll put a link in. There's a bridge in the background, and from the front, it's an amazing view. There seems to be there's probably more. There's like a little bit of media, and who's that? SBS. There's obviously more cops than protesters at this stage. They said there'd be 30 of them in their flyer, but they could manage half a dozen. And there's a bed. What's it say? No more gas and coal. And there's Albo in bed with whoever. Labor is in bed with fossil fuels. And this lady's one of the knitting nanas is passing the buck. Environment, climate, back and forth it goes. Here's a few more of the sleepers. A few regular people here, and obviously Marine Faruqi will be speaking to the throngs. The guy looks pretty security-ish. He's a copper, I'd say, and then he's just a random guy with his sign, and that's it. Not much media. All right, that's it. I'll sign out for now until something happens. Yeah, like I said, a little minimal amount of media. You got this guy's just rocked up now. I'm not sure who he is. This is the SBS, and there's Marine Faruqi rocking in now with her person, bodyguard or whatever she is, but she was hanging with her. So there, and these are organised with the cops, and yeah. Anyway, the arrival of Marine Faruqi is the most exciting thing that's happened so far. I'm not sure why the numbers are so minimal. There's the people. I think there's probably almost a dozen. He's going to try and hang something on the wall there, which might come. Maybe the cops don't seem to care too much. Sometimes they get a bit antsy about it, but looks like they just don't know much. The cops inside are just no. He's not going to do anything. How are they going to attach it? Hey, they seem to be fine about it today. Big cop. It's just looking. They can't attach it, so no. Let's put it on the tree. What are we going to do? They're trying to work it out without much luck. Here they go. Where are they off with it? Let's put it. What are we going to do, guys? Stick it on the bush here. Yeah, over the bush. That's the way. Alright, yeah, that's not bad. Don't cover the other sign. Okay. Well, that's whatever her name is, Evans. She's getting her sign. It's kind of facing up a bit, but that'll be good for the drone footage. It's kind of back to a lull again until we get the speeches, and there doesn't seem to be any microphones or there's a megaphone in the background, so we'll get a bit of it. There'll be some speeches. And this guy on their masks, he's got frack off. The other one's got bedtime for fossil fuels. The other one has tired or something or other. Can't read it. They've all got a little head mask with a message. And then the knitting nana with her koala, her signs. We've seen it all now. A couple of megaphones, and that's it. A small group, and let's see what eventuates, and I'll stop blabbering.
When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Climate action! When do we want it? Now! Whoa! Don't dig it! Leave it in the ground, it's time to get with it. Oh, don't dig it. Leave it in the ground, it's time to get with it. Oh, don't dig it. Leave it in the ground, it's time to get with it. Oh, don't dig it. Leave it in the ground, it's time to get with it. Oh, don't dig it. Leave it in the ground, it's time to get with it. Oh, don't dig it in the ground, it's time to get with it.
The media is teeing up for Marine Faruqi to give a speech. They said they're waiting on a few more to arrive because there's trains stuck on the bridge or some excuse. So if they don't, we can hear her what she says if they don't stop, if they keep the, I guess they want, they're just manoeuvring it a bit to get people in the background and the usual sort of media setup.
How are we gonna get it? How are we gonna get it?
Oh, she's the Fighting for Justice. Who are they? I can't remember the name of the group that they represent. The lady next to Marine. Hopefully they will cut the speaker. This guy's got to get his shit in gear. The other cameraman seems to have wandered off. So it's just an SBS and this photographer from newspaper photographer.
What do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want?
Enthusiastic people in the background.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now.
Small crowd altogether. If you exclude the people having their sleep in. Alright, we'll wait till some action happens.
Aboriginal land. Always was, always will be. 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 Aboriginal land.
Alright, so that might be a sign for the speakers to kick in. Let's see. So funny how the medium works in with each other. Which I recorded it. The guy is going, oh, should we just wait for Channel 7? And Marine goes, oh no, that's okay. And then he goes, oh, he's just running to get his tripod. So it's like the mainstream media just in cahoots with themselves. And now, anyway, it gives them a chance to set the shot up now. You've got the banner in the background. And I'm surprised they don't put the people there as well. I'm sure they will work it out. We're just waiting on Channel 7. He must have parked over the other side of the bridge, but he'll get here eventually. Very small media contingent. A bit more chanting. While we wait, didn't really take off. Gave it a go. I think you need a megaphone to get it going. So we're getting everyone in position now to gather behind the SBS cameraman and the soon-to-be Channel 7 cameraman when he gets back with his tripod, if he gets back. Alright, we've got this fellow with his flags coming in now, and his Donald Trump. He often has his Donald Trump sign. That's not a news chopper. That's just a tourist one. It's pretty dismal. We got a couple of cops standing around, all the other cops are standing around, and knitting nanas. 3 knitting nanas now, so they've increased. A few of the oldies coming in, but I think either they're part of it or I think they are, because she's got something. She's got some sort of socialist type T-shirt on. So the signs: wake up, and there's a bed. Our politicians have failed to deal with the climate crisis from this fellow with his yes on his cap and his rising tide and water not coal. Stop picking profit over the planet. We are running out of time. Donald Trump wanted for crimes against humanity. These guys are in position. Still no Channel 7. Oh, here he comes. Here's the long-awaited Channel 7 guy with his tripod, just strolling on. Everyone's waiting on him, but here he comes. Through now. There's the SBS guy will pick his camera up for him. It's just, look, the way they work in cahoots, it's just, it's all handshakes and pats on the back as they arrive. And oh, here comes another crew. We're waiting on another camera crew now. They're all late too. Kicked off. There he goes. Here you go, Channel 7. Here's your camera from the SBS guy. Here comes another one. So I'm not sure who he is. He looks like a bit confused as to Oh, mate, we'll give you 2 minutes. We'll give you 2 minutes to get ready. Here's Channel 7's in. This is our, not sure who he is, but we'll see. It's getting ready. Marine and her young lady that's running it, all waiting in a group there. Everyone's bunched in for the tight shot of making it look like a reasonably good crowd. The knitting nana's in the background waiting. A few shots. Oh, here he is, 10. He's 10, so he's a 10 guy. It's 7, the SBS and the SBS guy's not helping him out, so he must only like the 7 guy. 7 guys coming in with his mic now. Yeah, let's go. This is looking more like a proper press conference now with at least three mics. Channel 10 is fiddling around a little bit. Got a camera, no tripod. Is there a tripod? No, he's a big boy. He can shoulder hold, not like the Channel 7 guy have to go back for his tripod. It gave the 10 guy a chance to get here. So, sorry. There's quite a lot of like people in the background who are just here for whatever reason.
Last week, the Albanese government came out with their climate plan, and it's disgraceful. Emissions reduction by 2035 of 62 to 70% will see well over 2 degrees of warming. And the government knows this. They produced the National Climate Risk Assessment, which in detail described the horrific climate impacts that we are currently seeing and will continue to see. We will see 50-degree days in Sydney and Melbourne. We will have over 1 million homes uninsured. This is not the future that young people deserve to inherit. And alongside this, they approved the Woodside Northwest Shelf gas expansion proposal. This is going to be the most polluting fossil fuel project in the Southern Hemisphere. Shame on the Albanese government. Shame. Young people are here today because we will not stand for their lack of climate inaction and how the Labor government have once again fallen to the fossil fuel industry. We are here to tell them that we will not stand for this. Young people, First Nations communities and the Pacific community deserve a whole lot better.
Zach Schofield, Rising Tide. Look, the government's job is now to take on the single largest political force on the Australian continent, which is the fossil fuel industry. And that's going to require an unprecedented level of courage. This was an opportunity for the government to show that courage, and they have categorically failed. It's not an easy job, we understand that, but young people across Australia have to ask, if the government is not going to stand up to the coal and gas industry, who will? It's our future on the line, and as they've already continued to approve coal and gas projects for exports that won't even benefit Australian consumers, won't even be taxed properly to fund Australian schools and hospitals. Who is getting a good deal out of these climate risk tasks? Pardon me. Who is getting a good deal out of this climate risk assessment and these targets? It's not young Australians.
We are outside Prime Minister's official residence today. We know the Prime Minister doesn't like protest. The Prime Minister doesn't like us protesting on the streets, and the Prime Minister definitely doesn't want us to protest outside his office. The Labor government has used every trick in the book to quash protest and to silence dissent. But we will not be silent, and we will not be silenced. So today we are demanding strong climate action outside the Prime Minister's residence. We are protesting outside the Prime Minister's residence. So deal with it, Prime Minister. Unlike the Labor government, who is in a climate stupor, we are wide awake. Unlike the Labor government, we care about people and the planet. We want a climate-safe future for the next generation and the generations to follow. And we want the Prime Minister to choose that future too. The Prime Minister and the Climate Change Minister weren't shy of giving us the dire warnings that the Climate Risk Assessment report documents. The Prime Minister and the Climate Change Minister did tell us in words the horror story of the future of climate crisis. But they failed to match their words with strong action. That is not leadership. That is not courage. That is disgraceful. That is cowardice. The weak and timid targets that the Prime Minister is setting are paving the path for climate destruction, hand in hand with coal and gas companies that are cooking the planet and with whom both the major parties are in bed with. But we won't stand for this. No more hypocrisy, no more delays, no more coal and gas. We will not let the Labour government get away with these weak targets. We demand strong action, and we demand it now. I'll say a few words about the Palestinian recognition as well that happened, that Australia did overnight. Australia recognizing Palestine has only happened because of the hundreds of thousands of people marching week on week for the last 2 years, pressuring the Albanese government to do something. Australia's recognition of Palestine is basically complying with international principles, but it will not end the genocide. Last night's recognition will not end the genocide. It will not stop the slaughter, the starvation, or the occupation. There should never have been a choice, and there can never be a choice between recognition and sanctions. Australia must sanction Israel now and stop the two-way arms trade. The UN has made it clear that Israel is committing genocide. The Albanese government has a legal, moral, and urgent obligation to do everything they can to end this genocide. And that means sanctioning Israel strongly. That means ending the two-way arms trade.
Senator, are you aware that the Prime Minister is in New York right now?
Yes, I am.
So what's the point of the demonstration outside his house disturbing peace and quiet for local residents?
We are here today because we are disturbing a peaceful street for an hour when people can't get to school. Schools are closing down.
He's in New York. Why don't you shout a bit louder?
I'm saying it to the camera, to the Prime Minister.
Join us.
We are here to
virtue signaling, isn't it? The whole
We
thing
are here
is
to
the point,
demand
really, isn't it?
that the science have said net zero by 2035, and that includes no new coal and gas. We need to phase out from fossil fuels instead of expanding. We need to transition to renewable energy. I am a constituent of the Prime Minister, and I am here to demand that he listens to young people and stops falling to the fossil fuel industry. The Labour government
We need to exercise our civil rights.
The Labour government is sleeping on climate action, and they are in bed with the fossil fuel industry, and that is why we are here today.
Don't live here, live somewhere else.
Thank you. We have the democratic right to protest in this country, and we will uphold and use that right to save the future of this planet and of its people, of its biodiversity, and of its species. We will not shy away from protesting for a stronger climate for people who live here and across the globe.
Alright, well that was the speeches component. A little bit of pushback from the local bloke. And drowned out with the drums in the end. Let's get a little picture of the people. Yeah, well there's no one there, there's one lady going. Starting the speeches? Well, that was the speeches. Oh, that was obviously just a press conference. And now it's going to be the same again, I'm assuming. Here's this guy. They're all a bit onto him, I don't know. Just the rising tide guy.
Protest by political conversation.
Sure.
So I think it's a good start. Across the world are experiencing floods and bushfires. My generation is going to We have, sir, we have. Do you know that the Prime Minister has moved his electorate office to avoid protesters? Do you know that he's actively avoiding
and I'm not
protesters?
surprised he has, because you disturb the neighbouring.
Sir, it's his job. Sir, it's his job to listen to the
Peaceful
peaceful
protest
protesters.
is peaceful protest.
Do you not find this
You have
peaceful?
the right.
Sir, do you not
Is
find
this
this
peaceful? Is this peaceful?
Yes, it absolutely is, sir. Sir, it absolutely is.
Seriously.
Just yell
It
at
doesn't
him.
sound peaceful.
Sorry, what's your definition of
It's going to be
Our bullhorns out.
drowned out now.
We're not going to stand for inaction. We're not going to stand for...
This is the real speeches coming up now, so let's get over
I'm Natasha and this is Ivana. We're going to be MCs for the party today because we're here to have a pajama party.
I'm sorry,
But I also want to start by
I think you
acknowledging today
guys
that we
should
are
rethink.
gathered
You're
on
supposed to be
stolen
people with
Aboriginal
civil-
land. And it's really crucial to recognise that sovereignty was never ceded and the work of protecting country and culture is fundamental to the climate justice movement. The two issues are so deeply intertwined and we simply cannot have climate justice without justice for First Nations communities. I also want to acknowledge all the Indigenous communities who are currently fighting this extractive fossil fuel industry on their country, which is why we are here today. So I'm sure everyone heard from that long press conference, but we're here today because a number of cool things have happened in the past 2 weeks. But two things are for certain. Labor is in bed with the fossil fuel industry and they're sleeping on climate action. Shame! Shame! Last Thursday, the Labor government announced their 2035 emissions reduction target, and quite frankly, it's embarrassing. They've set a target of 62 to 70% emissions reductions below 2005, blah, 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 a bunch of boring words, but this target means that we are going to go well over 2 degrees of warming. That means 50-degree days in Sydney and Melbourne. That means more bushfires, more floods, more delays, more of our schools getting closed down. We cannot afford to keep going in this direction. We cannot afford the irreversible impacts that will happen if we don't reach net zero by 2035.
That's right.
We cannot afford the cost of more climate disaster. The Labor government pretends to care about climate action and young people, but the government's decision is only going to fuel the crisis that causes these disasters. Our communities are hurting, and this government is sleeping on climate. Shame! Shame!
2035 climate targets will determine exactly how dangerous our futures are going to become. And instead of siding with communities, Labor is snoring in bed with the coal and gas companies. By setting a weak target of 62 to 70%, Prime Minister Albanese has chosen to put big coal and gas polluters before our communities, our people, our climate, and our planet. Shame!
Shame!
The targets, which, by the way, can we really even call them a target if they're a range, but has real-world impacts on young people, for our communities, our state, our country. Only a few days ago did the Albanese government release its first ever national climate risk assessment. And what did it tell us? Exactly what we already knew. It shows us the dire consequences of inaction and exactly what our communities will have to expect from the climate crisis if we don't take action now. The National Risk Assessment found that extreme temperatures are likely to, in fact going to, increase nationwide, and at 1.5 degrees of global warming, almost 20% of all residential buildings in the country will be in high and very high risk areas. 1.5 million Australians are at risk from sea level rise by 2050. And at 3 degrees of global warming, you can expect 300 days of the year to be flooding in Brisbane. Did the government even read its own report?
No.
Because it sounds like they didn't. We are growing up to inherit the consequences of this government, and it's a downright embarrassment. Shame!
Shame!
This target that the government has just announced will lead to well over 2 degrees of warming. Australia's climate pollution is amongst the highest in the world and almost double the current emissions per person globally. The continuation of new coal and gas projects leads to the worst climate risk scenarios that were outlined in the government's risk report. Shame on them.
Shame!
Okay. Well, while all this is happening, and like I said before, Woodside's Northwest Shelf gas project received its final approval from Murray Watt. And that makes it really clear that the Labor government don't care about the Australian people, but actually has this priority of cozying up in bed with the fossil fuel industry. As we can see, Big Albo and Little Murray in our bed. And so how does Labor expect to lower our emissions when they've just approved the biggest gas project in the Southern Hemisphere? The Northwest Shelf extension is set to be the most polluting proposed fossil fuel project, which estimates it will produce 6.1 billion tonnes of climate pollution out to 2070. Already, we know we need to have net zero by 2035. The government's saying they want net zero by 2050. If we're approving projects that are going to 2070, the math ain't mathin'. This is roughly 13 times what Australia emits annually from everything else combined. The project is also going to damage the Murujuga cultural landscape, which is a 50,000-year-old collection of First Nations petroglyphs with more than 1 million images and has been nominated for the UNESCO World Heritage List. Shame on them.
Shame! This is happening while communities across our country have been faced with floods, destroying their homes, their communities, and their lives. How many more 1 in 100-year floods and climate disasters will it take consecutively before our leaders take real action on the climate crisis? The decision makes it clear that this government does not care about young people. Our generation is growing up in a climate crisis, and young people are going to be on the front line as climate disasters continue to get worse and happen more frequently. We need our government to wake up to get the climate... Okay, I'll keep going, sorry guys. We need the government to wake up to the climate crisis to prevent climate disasters from getting even worse, and we will not stand by while they wreck our futures. That's why we're here today, outside of Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's Sydney residence, to show the Albanese government very clearly, stop sleeping on climate. We cannot afford Labor's continued inaction and support for the fossil fuel industry. Young people, First Nations people, Pacific Islanders, and those on the front lines of the climate crisis cannot afford this inaction. And all across the country today, young people are fighting for our futures. Albo should be embarrassed by his timidity on the climate crisis and on climate action. The Prime Minister is in bed with coal and gas companies. And will he stand with the community? That's what we're here for today, to ask, Albo, will you be standing with us, with the people of this country, with the communities at the forefront of this crisis, or continue to put profit over people?
And this Thursday, but we've already mobilised across the country. People in Meghange and Brisbane, there are people rallying in Ballou, Perth, Melbourne, Adelaide, Cairns, Hobart, Canberra, and there are thousands of people writing emails and calling their local Labor MPs to demand stronger action on climate. So we're just one of many people across the continent today.
Now I'd like to welcome our first speaker, Senator and Deputy Leader of the Greens, Dr. Drew.
Yes. Oh no, I didn't. Thank you. I don't have to press it. Yeah. Hi everyone, thank you for being here today to demand strong action on climate. I do want to acknowledge the sovereign owners of the lands we gathered on and pay my respects to elders past and present. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. I do also want to acknowledge that there can be no climate justice without racial justice, and there can be no racial justice without First Nations justice. So as we strive for climate justice, we must make it a priority to work alongside First Nations people in their resistance, in their struggle for justice, for self-determination, and for treaties. Well, we all know that the Prime Minister does not like protest. He does not like protest on the streets, and he definitely does not like protest outside his office. But we will not stop. So, Prime Minister, we are here today protesting action outside your residence. Just deal with it. Because unlike the Labour government, who is in a climate stupor and in bed with coal, gas and oil companies, we are wide awake to the horrific consequences of the climate crisis. Unlike the Labour government, we care about people and the planet. We want a climate-safe future, and we want our Prime Minister to choose that same future for the sake of the future generations, for the sake of our species, for the sake of our environment. Now, I'm an engineer, and for me, one of the most frustrating things is when evidence is ignored or dropped by the wayside. And that is exactly what has happened in this case. And at the end of the day, for what? For what is Labour ignoring all the massive evidence we've had for decades on the climate crisis? For the profits of climate-wrecking coal and gas corporations who fill their coffers with millions of dollars in donations. That is what is happening here. The Labour Party knows the evidence. I mean, 2 weeks ago, they were forced to release a report that they had been hiding by the Greens. A report that clearly shows us the devastation that is to come. And basically, the Prime Minister and the Climate Change Minister were not really shy of telling us about these dire consequences. They actually had the words to describe the horror story that is going to be the climate crisis if strong action isn't taken. But then they utterly and completely failed to follow up those words with the action that is needed. These weak and timid targets are not the action that is needed. These weak and timid targets are only going to pave the path for climate destruction, hand in hand with these planet-cooking coal and gas corporations. That is what is going to happen with these weak targets. They know we have to keep global warming below 1.5 degrees to stay alive. But instead of choosing a safe future for our young people, for our environment, for our wildlife, they side with the coal and gas corporations and approve climate-wrecking coal and gas projects left, right, and center. They know the consequences of spewing carbon into the atmosphere. They know that we must rapidly slash climate pollution. It's not as if they don't know. Yet, they turn around and they approve Woodside's expansion of gas, which will destroy our climate, but it will also destroy Morojuga country. First Nations people are on the front lines of this climate crisis. Also, the Global South is bearing the brunt of our insatiable appetite to dig up and burn coal and gas. I've just come back from Pakistan visiting my mom. And the province that my mom lives in is underwater. Punjab, which is the food bowl of the country, is underwater. Hundreds of people dead, millions displaced, most of the crops are underwater. This is the price that the poor Global South countries have to pay for the exuberance and the extravagance of the rich in the global north. That is what is at stake here. And Labour is still continuing to try to pull wool over our eyes. That's what they're doing with their hypocrisy, on talking the talk, but not really walking the walk. Because they know, and we know, that their words did not stop Israel's genocide in Gaza. And their words now on climate are not going to stop the climate destruction. They are betraying all of us. We also know how to build a movement. And that is what we need to do here. We must build a bigger and bigger people-powered movement. On the streets, outside politicians' offices, disrupting, greenwashing, until they finally listen. The time for half measures is truly over. No more coal and gas, no more hypocrisy. We need strong action now. We need courage now. We need justice now. And I do know that it's not an easy task. What we are doing here is not easy. And we always need strength and solidarity in times like this. So when I need a bit of solace and strength, I actually channel one of my favorite activists and authors, Arundhati Roy, who says, another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. We may not have many more quiet days to come just yet, but we must never forget that together our actions can make another world a better world possible. Thank you so much everyone for your solidarity, your action, and your activism.
Okay guys, now it's time for something fun, which I need all of you to take part in. If you guys could, take out your phones and take a quick picture or video or selfie of this action. You can take a selfie with the person next to you, or of you guys with signs, or even on this bed with Albo lying next to Cole with Murray's watch. But we need you to take a photo and post it to your Instagram stories or feeds right now. And when you post, we want you to tag Anthony Albanese at AlboMP, and also tag the Australian Labor Party to tell them that we're not going away and they need to wake up to stop sleeping on climate. This will only take you guys 30 seconds, so I see a couple of phones out. I'll give you guys 30 seconds. I know. Okay, let's do it all together. Post your photo to your page right now, and after this action, we will be seeing all the reactions from Labour MPs and Anthony Albanese to dozens of stories and posts of us, because it's up to all of us to let them know that 62 to 70% by 2035 is not good enough. 62 to 70% is a betrayal of our people and our planet. And after this action, we want you to comment on all of Anthony Albanese's Instagram posts, tag him, spam him, do all of that. It would be really fun to see. Okay. Now we'd like to welcome our second speaker from Rising Tide, Sydney. Please welcome Emily.
I apologize for my lack of pajama. I got up and looked in the mirror this morning and I realized my pajamas are just old clothes that kind of look like elephant skin. So I chose not to wear them, but instead I brought two special creatures here. These belong to my sons, and these are the soft toys that they reach for whenever they're needing comfort. This is Mr. Puff, and this is Cat. I'm going to put them on the bed here. So I've always known that I wanted to be a mother. From a young age, I watched my grandmothers and my mum and how caring and nurturing they were for others in such a beautiful and gentle way, and I knew I wanted to be like them. A lot of people justifiably have doubts about becoming parents, but I never did. I think that's why, even though I had my eyes wide open to climate change, when the moment came, I didn't hesitate. I knew it would be a joy for me, and I had a naive faith in government that has since dissipated. And at this point, I want to acknowledge the historical and ongoing pain and suffering of First Nations parents, who have always known the cruelty of this colonising government. And it was my privilege that prevented me from seeing that earlier. So I brought two beautiful boys into this world, and I was right. I love it. I love them so much. Yet every delightful moment is pierced by the deepest fear and desperation. When I think of their future, I don't see safe, happy, meaningful scenarios. I see water wars. I see famine. I see searing heat, fire and floods. the extinction of creatures they hold dear, the breakdown of the complex, interconnected ecosystems we all need to survive. I see suffering, all pervasive. I see unnatural mass death. And there is no comfort in the thought that my children might somehow escape those consequences, that they might be able to live safe, abundant lives, if that is at the expense of others. That reality has haunted me my whole life. I want to fix that. I don't want to make it a billion times worse. I didn't know that parenting would include fighting my own government and stopping them from actively and purposefully hurtling into the abyss of climate breakdown. But it turns out it does. And I didn't know I would have to be as fierce as I was gentle. But I'm determined to rise to the occasion. There are no words strong enough to accurately express the rage I feel, the desperation and deep, bone-deep sorrow caused by this negligent so-called government and their so-called targets. They have known this was coming since well before I was born, and I'm about to turn 41. They have known about this for so long. Labour, Liberal, it doesn't matter. They have all acted as stooges for the fossil fuel industry for decades, and they all have blood on their hands. The only thing we can rely on is the fact that we can't rely on them. I make this call out to all parents and to all people who care about children and animals, and for that matter, all people who care about clean air and water and temperatures that don't cause organ failure. That should be everyone, but somehow isn't. This government knows its choices will lead to devastating, irreparable damage to our world, mass loss of life, mass displacement, poverty and suffering. They simply believe there will be an elite class of people to which they will belong, who will be able to maintain a certain standard of living regardless. And all of that suffering, damage, loss and death is just the cost of doing business. This is what we're up against. The only way to counter this kind of morally vacant governance in this country is with a mass movement of people willing to disrupt the source of the problem in a non-violent manner. If this group of people is disruptive enough and large enough, it becomes unpoliceable and forces a political response. There are more of us than there are of them, and they are reliant on our cooperation and our compliance. History shows us that when we stand in numbers and refuse to comply, we can force change. It won't be quick, it takes time and commitment. But here's a hopeful story for you. Newcastle is home to the world's largest coal port. It's Australia's single biggest contributor to the climate crisis, and Australia is the third largest exporter of coal in the world. In 2023, we had 3,000 people attend our blockade of the coal port, and 109 people arrested for stopping ships. In 2024, we had 7,000 people attend the blockade. Significant state interference, heavy policing, and ultimately 195 arrested. People are responding to our story and reacting to police and political repression. We have more and more people joining our movement every day in hubs all across Australia. We have momentum. Now we need to build on it. I see wonderful knitting nanas in the crowd. I see Lock the Gate people, Move Beyond Coal, and of course AYCC people in the crowd here. Wear your shirts and bring your flags. We need to unite all the threads of this movement into a huge alliance and a shared target so that we can build enough collective momentum to finally transform climate and energy politics in this country and force the politicians to work for us instead of their fossil fuel mates. There can be no more perfect target than the world's largest coal port and the single largest source of emissions just up the road from Sydney. I am determined to be able to look my boys in the eyes and know that I went all in for their future. And for all you beautiful young people and future generations. That's why I'm with Rising Tide and why I'm committed to disrupting the Port of Newcastle and whatever else I can, for as long as it takes for our political leaders to do what is right and just. I invite all of you to join us in Newcastle in November and remind these ecocidal maniacs who they work for. The tide is rising and so are we. I'll see you on the beach.
Hey everyone, now we're going to go and take a huge group photo together, and then we actually have a little special guest who I've just heard is actually coming to do a little interview with us, so you guys might want to stick around after the group photo. He might be sleeping in that bed right now. So, the vision is basically we want everyone behind the bed, so if I can get some volunteers to move the bed forward for us just to about here, and then if I can get everyone to stand behind the bed, so we can get a photo of the bed, and also get the banner.
Let them get themselves organised into their group. Yeah, the cops are still here. There's Palestinian flag on a bike. The needy nanas getting into position. So they moved their little air mattress forward a bit. And yeah, we'll get a photo once everyone's in the background. And then I'll get up there. So we get the house, I guess.
When do we want it?
Got a bit of chanting. Maureen's still there, but she left.
When do we want it?
Part of it.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Maybe she's waiting for the end and then she'll come at the front.
When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now! Alright, can I get the banner just a little bit more to your guys' right, and then can I get everyone to try bunch in a little bit more? Everyone who's behind the tree, bunch in behind the banner. In. Everyone on the sides, bunch in as much as you can. Looking so good, guys. Can I get maybe some people right next to the elbow beds, like sleeping, like Tash and Ivana next to the elbow bed, please? The vision, guys.
Maybe just lift his head up a little though. Hold the Murray. Yeah.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now, can I get everyone to raise their fists in the air, please? Nice, nice. And can I get everyone to pretend they're sleeping, like... It's the vision, guys. Perfect. Anything else anyone needs? Any other shots? Alright, everyone can come back over to this side now, and we've got one last little special guest who's coming. I might just pass the mic over to Tash to introduce that guest.
Special guest, who's come all the way from New York because we woke him up. We have Albo, who's come over. He's a bit short, he got knee surgery. So yeah, all the posts you've been making, tagged Albo, he's here, now he's flown all the way here in just 2 minutes. So, Mr. Prime Minister, we want to know, why is your party sleeping on climate?
Well, my party is actually not sleeping on climate. The fossil fuel industry tells me that this is the most sensible, smart approach so that we can continue greenwashing our climate policy while they continue mining and making billions of dollars in profit. So that is the sensible approach to climate action.
And Mr. Prime Minister, is ignoring the science a sensible approach?
Well, we think the most sensible approach is to ensure that we still keep getting thousands of dollars for our political campaigns from our fossil fuel donors. So that is sensible. Being sensible is making sure that they can continue making profit, we can continue winning elections through taking their money, and that is the way to be sensible.
And what is your message to young people who say you should be listening to them and not your fossil fuel donors?
Well, my message to young people is that we're taking sensible climate action, and when they have millions of dollars in their pocket and want to send some money over our way to our political campaigns, then we might start listening to you.
Now, everyone, what do we think of the Prime Minister's answers today? Is it giving people over profit? No. Well, I think the message is clear. Now, I just want to introduce our third and final speaker, Owen, who will do a quick one. Owen's a 19-year-old university student and is one of the city coordinators of the AYCC team, and was also a part of school strike. So,
Hello, yeah, so I've now magically become Owen again, not Albo anymore. And I just wanted to thank you all so much for coming out here today. I want to acknowledge first the First Nations people whose land we're standing on today, and acknowledge that every time we are fighting for anything in the climate justice movement, we have to remind ourselves who led these movements, who have been leading these movements. There's Raylene Cooper over in Western Australia who's fighting tooth and nail against the Woodside gas shelf. Shout out to Raylene Cooper, solidarity with her, always was, always will be. And acknowledging that all these fights have been led by First Nations people, and we have to stand with them consistently. We have to stand with oppressed people from all across the globe, including the people in Palestine, and knowing that there is no climate justice without First Nations justice, without Palestinian justice, and that young people are standing with these communities, and that what we all need to continue to do. Now, I've been a part of the climate justice movement for years now. Since my entire high school life and now my entire university life, I've had to come to politicians' offices. I've been to Kirribilli House at like 4 different protests at Kirribilli House before. I've had to go to MP offices. I've gone to climate strikes. I've gone to rallies. I've gone all the way to Parliament House to ask our MPs to please commit to real climate justice. And every time I get told by them, they're listening, they hear us, they understand what we're saying. And then yet, a couple of weeks later, they turn around and put forward a weak and useless climate target that will see us go over 2 degrees of warming. Shame! Shame! How dare these Labour MPs choose to continue to lie to young people? How dare they continue to lie to Pacific Islanders? How dare they continue to lie to First Nations people? Telling us that they care about us, telling us that they support us during their election campaign, and then just a week or 2 after their election campaign, approve the most polluting gas project in the Southern Hemisphere. Shame! Shame! But what gives me hope in all this is seeing all of you here. This was a snap action. We announced this on like Friday last week, and yet at 10 a.m. on a Monday morning when people have work, people have school, people have uni, all these amazing people still show up. We also, a couple months ago organised a snap action outside Albo's now closed office because he apparently doesn't want to talk to the people. But we announced a snap action there. They organised along with Emma over there, one of our other Sydney organisers. And we announced that 4 days before that, and we still saw a huge number of people show up. And what that shows to me is that we have a movement that is ready to fight this. That young people, people from all generations, people from all backgrounds and communities are ready to fight this. And that is what we need to continue to do. We need to continue to show up. We need to continue to show that we will not stand for the greenwashing. We will not stand for the lies. We will not stand for a weak target for 2035. What we need is climate justice now. What we need is net zero by 2035. And we need to see the end to greenwashing by this Labour government. Thank you so much. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. Thank you so much.
That we were actually going to have this at the electoral office in Marrickville, and conveniently they closed it a few days before making that announcement. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that is the Albanese government not wanting to participate in democracy, because this is what democracy looks like, right?
Right now, Labor wants us to believe that 62 to 70% reduction by 2035 is ambition. But ambition does not look like approving new gas at Northwest Shelf. Ambition does not look like whilst floods and fires and heat waves tear through our communities. And that is why we're here. Not just in front of Kirribilli House, but in Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Cairns, Melbourne, Hobart and Canberra. Across this continent, we are stepping out to say the same thing. These targets are not ambition. These targets are a betrayal of our people and our planet, and we won't let it slide. Labor needs to wake up.
This fight is not just about, and it does not end with targets, because at the end of the day, what does net zero even mean? It's about whether our homes burn, whether our days turn scorching, or whether our homes in the Pacific and our Pacific neighbours begin to sink into the sea. This is about whether any of us get to have a livable, safe future. This doesn't start or finish at the gates of Kirribilli House, and this fight is with you, in your conversations and actions, and how you choose to speak up. And we're not going away until coal and gas stops, and we will keep building until we have a government that takes our people and planet seriously. Thanks for coming, everyone. Feel free to stick around, have a pajama party, but also it's a Monday, so.
Alright, that's it. I know. One last one.
Photos with the bed, make TikToks with the bed, get all your visuals that you need, and also if you are a young person, I just see a couple around. If you're a young person, you're interested in getting
back in position.
Interested in getting involved in AYCC. Feel free to come
Marine
talk to
Fruki.
any of us at the front here.
She did her bit.
We're really keen to always have more equal volunteers organising. So please come along, have a chat, and yeah, everyone get a photo with the bed, lie in the bed, have fun. Thank you all so much for coming.
Has been with the Federal Environment Minister since 2009. Mr Deputy Speaker, it is time to act. It is time for procrastination to end.
Alright, that'll do, I think. Nobody seems to have taken up the offer of the bed sitting, so yeah, the number of people have kind of just disappeared before it all finished anyway. Alright, this is their sign. Beautiful, you know, obviously a beautiful place where the office is here. Not the house, I mean Kirribilli House. Alright, that's it. No more nattering. I'm out of here.